Get your snacks ready, because this story is about to take your cravings to the next level. Chidose prepares an enormous breakfast for her priest crush, Santa. He stares at the mountain of food like it's a boss fight he didn't sign up for and now finds himself puzzled over what to eat first and what to leave behind, as it seems she might not really understand the meaning of the word breakfast. She casually says it's just a little food to give him some nutrition. Then, with a playful look, she asks if she can eat too, since she's hungry as well. Santa gives her permission, and without wasting a second, she brings her face close to his neck and sweetly asks if she can begin. Santa reminds her to finish quickly so that he can also enjoy his own breakfast in peace. With that, she sinks her teeth into his neck and drinks his blood. Naturally, for a vampire, this is breakfast. Once her hunger is satisfied, Chidose folds her hands in gratitude. Santa gently stops her, clearly not comfortable with the gesture. She explains she just couldn't help herself. His blood is simply delicious. Santa, a bit irritated, remarks that there's nothing delicious about it, especially since he's losing blood first thing in the morning. Chidose, not missing a beat, offers a kiss instead if the blood is a problem, but Santa's face turns redder than his blood when she offers a kiss instead. He shyly admits that he's fine with the blood. It seems like vampires have become quite rare. Long ago, they were natural enemies of humans, living off their blood. But with time, their numbers dwindled, and the church stepped in to protect them. With the help of priests, they tried to support the vampires, one priest for one vampire. That's the situation we see now with Chidose and Santa. Vampires no longer attack humans, and this peaceful coexistence is also part of priestly training. Over time, Chidose and Santa have gotten to know each other so well, they become like childhood friends. As they prepare to leave for high school, Chidose tells Santa that he forgot his cross. Santa wonders if vampires should even touch crosses in the first place. On their way, they're stopped by classmates asking for help with homework, but both refuse. Chidose reflects that she now understands how modern-day vampires live. She only drinks Santa's blood, just enough to satisfy her, never too much. But she has never seen another vampire besides herself. Once in class, the teacher announces a new transfer student named Jaruji. Chidose is surprised at first glance. There's something different about her. While the rest of the class bombards the newcomer with questions, Chidose quietly senses the truth. This girl is also a vampire. After class, both Chidose and Santa receive a message from the priest on their phones. He informs them that a new vampire will be living with them, and they are to take care of her. Santa immediately sees this as a headache. While the priest explains that Jaruji is a model vampire, she doesn't attack or cause any trouble. He also informs Santa that his new priest training is about to begin. Chidose seems unaffected, but Santa, sweating and confused, quietly tells Chidose that he gets a troubling vibe from Jaruji. Chidose warns him not to say things like that. At that moment, Jaruji cheerfully appears, asking what they're up to. With a big smile, she places a candy in Chidose's hand and announces that she'll now be under their care. To Santa, this sounds like nothing but a massive headache, but Jaruji's candy gift feels more like a bribe to steal Santa in broad daylight. At church, Santa sternly tells Jaruji not to attack anyone at school. She agrees without argument. When Santa asks if she's applied for blood packs, she excitedly says yes. Chidose watches all this from afar. In class, she starts to think, now there's another vampire like her. Hopefully, they can all get along, although a strange feeling lingers, as if Chidose may like Santa. Meanwhile, others in the class start teasing her, wondering if she's jealous of Jaruji. After all, they assume Chidose and Santa are a couple, and a third wheel might be a problem. Chidose shouts that they're just childhood friends and storms out. She finds herself sitting alone on a rooftop pole, thinking about how they're just two friends who happen to share delicious blood. But deep down, jealousy has started to bloom, a fear that Jaruji might take Santa away from her. Later, Chidose realizes she's running late. As she heads out, she glances into the classroom and sees something that stops her cold. Jaruji is drinking Santa's blood. Chidose freezes, unable to bear the sight. Her mind floods with thoughts of all the food she prepared, thinking that the blood Jaruji is sucking is made from her lovingly cooked meals. Her jealousy feels less like a love triangle and more like a messy group project no one agreed to. Overwhelmed, she runs off, confused and upset. Stopping at a quiet spot, she starts to wonder if it's true that only vampires monitored by priests can drink each other's blood. If so, maybe Jaruji is right. Just then, a classmate approaches and asks if she's okay, but before she can reply, Jaruji comes running toward her. Breathing heavily, Jaruji asks if Chitose noticed something. Chitose is confused. After a moment to catch her breath, Jaruji asks if she likes Santa. Hearing this, Chitose blushes deeply and, with embarrassment, only manages to say that humans are just food for them. Jaruji looks relieved and says she's glad, because if the two were actually in love, it would have been hard for her. She then suggests they should share Santa's blood. Chitose is flustered, thinking that Jaruji's smile is charming, but she also sees herself as narrow-minded in comparison. Night falls. Chitose comes home late and apologizes to Santa for not cooking dinner. He tells her it's fine, he's already eaten, and she shouldn't worry. Then he offers his hand. At this point, he's practically a walking juice box. Silently, Chitose holds his hand to suck blood but doesn't and walks off. Santa, left behind, wonders what's going on. She didn't drink all day, and now she looks troubled. Is she jealous? Up on the rooftop, Chitose sits alone, lost in thought. She realizes she is jealous because she likes him even though he's human. She shouts into the night that they've been together for 16 years, but she still can't admit her feelings because it's too embarrassing. Just then, Santa joins her on the rooftop and gently tells her he always finds her here when she's upset. He notices her sitting near the cross and asks her to move away. Coming closer, he softly asks what's wrong. Why hasn't she had any blood today? Chitose suddenly hugs him and starts crying. She confesses that even though they're both vampires, seeing Jaruji drink Santa's blood made her jealous, and it hurts. Santa tells her that the rules are there for a reason, and they are right. But Chitose pleads, saying she wants Santa to be hers alone, nobody else's. Santa blushes at her words, and after a moment, tells her he won't give his blood to anyone else anymore, only to Chitose. She asks him if he means it. He nods and assures her that Jaruji will go back to blood packs. Chitose admits she feels better now and that she's hungry again. Will he share his blood? Santa sighs and calls her a glutton. Chitose asks if a kiss could satisfy her hunger. Santa agrees and they draw close, sharing a kiss. But suddenly, Chitose stops. Santa wonders what's wrong. Then, without warning, she falls onto him and kisses him deeply, unexpectedly, and passionately. After the long kiss, she asks how the flavor was. Something about it feels different. She's never tasted anything like it in 16 years. Deep inside, she knows this isn't just about the kiss. It's about the fluid from that's giving her satisfaction. She realizes she wants more. Just then, they look down to see Jaruji holding up her phone, informing them that she's been told she'll be living with them from now on. Santa mumbles that the sound didn't come through clearly and starts to worry. Living together might not be a good idea. He wonders if living with two vampires is going to turn him into a permanent donor with roommate problems. Chitose steps in, suggesting they should let Jaruji stay. She knows it might sound odd, but she doesn't want to monopolize Santa's blood entirely. Santa, a bit confused by her change in attitude, agrees. Chitose reflects again. Maybe Santa's blood tastes so good because she was the only vampire who ever drank it. That is, until Jaruji came along. She wants to keep Santa all to herself and let no one else near him. But then she wonders, why do people act so strange when they're hungry? Noticing her deep in thought, Santa and Jaruji ask what's wrong. But Chitose, silently, is just asking herself one thing: why can't she forget the taste of being completely full for the first time? While preparing food, Chitose finds herself thinking about Santa. She believes that the tastier the food, the better the quality of blood she'll receive from him. Though some things begin to make sense to her, others remain a mystery. What she does realize is that she secretly likes Santa, even if she doesn't want to admit it. But what still confuses her is the flavor she experienced during their kiss. It was unlike anything she had ever tasted. Now she wants to taste it again. The problem is, she doesn't know how to make that happen. Just then, Santa arrives and points out that she's made too much food, clearly lost in thought while cooking. She nearly salts the tea and sugars the omelet before catching herself. She apologizes, and Santa comments on her being quite odd today. When she doesn't respond, he asks again if she's even listening. He gently warns her not to get too close to the fire. Suddenly, Jaruji appears, nearly undressed, telling them that the shampoo is finished. Immediately, Chitose throws her hand in front of Santa's eyes. She doesn't want him to see Jaruji in that state. Shouting, she tells Jaruji to go put on some clothes. Santa, now officially a statue, questions all his life decisions in silence. Outside the house, Jaruji tells Santa that not all clergymen are so upright. Santa replies that he's not a clergyman anyway. Chitose steps outside, and notices Sister Alicia clean the outer part of the church. She quickly apologizes for being loud. Alicia replies with a remark about Santa's choice, because now he's living with two filthy vampires. Chitose walks away, quietly saying sorry again, remembering that it was her who asked Santa to let them stay. As they walk back, Santa asks Chitose why she told Jaruji she could live with them. Chitose admits it, and playfully twisting her finger on his shoulder, says that he's already seen Jaruji nearly naked. Santa begins reciting internal prayers for purity and quickly denies it. But Chitose comments that he is a priest and should behave responsibly. Deep down, though, she knows she's not being honest. What she really wants is to find out if Santa's blood tastes different after being shared with someone else. Jaruji, turning around, asks when she can drink Santa's blood again. Santa firmly tells her that from now on, both of them will have to manage with blood packets only. Suddenly, Chitose suggests they celebrate something called Blood Day Break. In her heart, she begins to worry. Now there are two vampires around, and if they're not careful, Santa could collapse from overuse. They have to be more cautious. Meanwhile, Jaruji sits in class, thinking about how badly she wants blood. Her thoughts spiral, and she ends up chasing someone through school. She tells her target she's a vampire and drinks their blood, warning them to keep it a secret. Later, she tells Santa and Chitose everything. They are both stunned. Jaruji says it was just a joke, but Chitose stares at her like a parent at a toddler holding scissors near a socket and warns her not to treat anyone like a snack. She also reminds her to be careful even at church, because only Santa is tolerant. When Chitose starts lecturing, Jaruji interrupts her and says that she's taking blood bags a bit too seriously lately. Outside the classroom, a girl from storage overhears their conversation. She walks away, muttering that these two vampires are staying in a very naive place. Later, Jaruji tells Santa that she feels like a prisoner, and Santa is like a jailer, always watching her. She can't do anything on her own, but she tells Chitose that she's like a model prisoner, which embarrasses her. Jaruji says there's nothing to be shy about because even now, Chitose can't satisfy her desires, and all this serious behavior is pointless. After all, they are vampires. Chitose sits alone on the rooftop, thinking that maybe Jaruji is right. Santa joins her and asks if she's feeling serious. She responds that no one's ever called her serious as a compliment before. Santa sits beside her, extends his arm, and offers his blood. Chitose thinks, is this romance or the weirdest protein shake ever? He knows she's been forcing herself to survive on blood packets ever since Jaruji came. He tells her that no one is around to see and she can drink his blood now. He even calls her a serious model vampire. Chitose blushes deeply. Santa tells her that her seriousness is helpful to him, and she should take this as a thank you gift. She thinks to herself how kind Santa has always been. She wonders how surprised he'd be if she told him she likes him. But she doesn't say anything, only replies that if being serious helps him, then it's not a bad thing. She thanks him, gently bites his arm, and starts drinking his blood. She pauses midway and says she doesn't feel the need for blood right now. She thanks him again and leaves, thinking how different the flavor is from last time. Feeling guilty, she thinks of herself as the worst. Santa is so kind, and yet she can't stop thinking like this. The next day, while Santa is walking through school, Jaruji suddenly grabs him from a classroom doorway. She pulls him inside and confronts him for letting Chitose drink his blood. She says it's not fair and demands the same. She asks if Chitose is really that special to be getting secret blood donations. She insists that no one will see them in an empty classroom. He agrees and allows her to drink his blood. She drinks Santa's blood in class and has a dramatic realization. She wonders if she's tasting Santa or just riding the high of forbidden cafeteria snacks. Meanwhile, Chitose is thinking about going home to cook dinner. As she passes by, she realizes Santa is missing. She starts looking for him and reaches the classroom, only to be shocked to see Jaruji drinking his blood. Santa freezes when he sees her. Chitose doesn't say anything because she already knew this would happen. The day before, while cooking, she had invited Jaruji and told her that Santa gave her blood and she should try it too. Jaruji had asked if Chitose was serious and whether she had come all that way just to say this. Then, feeling bad about the rude things she had said earlier, Jaruji apologized. Chitose told her she didn't mind. And now the scene she had imagined was happening. Back at home, while cooking again, Chitose thinks to herself that the truth is, she hates being with Santa and Jaruji. She can't even stand close to them, but she brushes the thought aside and decides to act like everything's fine. Still in the classroom, Jaruji presses herself against Santa and bites his neck. He tries to stop her, saying she shouldn't get this close, but she replies that she can't help it. She's supposed to be a serious role model after all. This time, though, Santa's blood tastes exceptionally good. She blushes and sits on the floor, wondering if this is because when another vampire drinks his blood, the taste becomes even better. She thinks this is exactly what's happening. Santa shakes her and asks if she's okay, but she's lost in thought. Last time might have been a coincidence, but this time she has no excuse. She thinks she should apologize to Santa. She doesn't want anyone else to have him, but also wants another vampire to drink his blood first, because then the next sip she takes tastes even better. She suddenly realizes she's slowly turning into a pervert. Santa asks what's wrong, but she doesn't answer. He tells her it's time to go home. As they walk, Jaruji asks Chitose if she and Santa are childhood friends. Then she warns her that she will take Santa away from her. Chitose's smile doesn't flinch, but somewhere deep inside, a mental table flips violently. Jaruji admits that she'll drink his blood whenever she wants, and Chitose will just have to wait. After saying that, she claims it was a joke, but when Chitose starts laughing, she asks why. Chitose doesn't reply, because deep down, maybe she wants exactly what Jaruji is saying. Santa invites everyone to gather at the church in his usual living space. He celebrates Jaruji's shift to a new place with joy, raising a toast that everyone joins. Jaruji is delighted as she drinks blood, and her happiness shows in her glowing expression. Santa curiously asks her what she is drinking. Standing nearby, Chitose begins to reflect. She remembers how she couldn't stop herself the moment she saw Jaruji drinking Santa's blood. She didn't know this side of herself even existed, and the thought makes her feel like a pervert. Her mind spins with thoughts of Santa letting other vampires suck his blood. Meanwhile, Jaruji is also lost in thought. She recalls how she planned to keep a special bottle hidden. A ripened bottle even Santa doesn't know about. But now, unable to hold back her excitement, she lifts the bottle proudly and announces that it's a high-class ripened blood, aged for 30 years. Santa is surprised and asks if blood can also be ripened. Jaruji explains that aging enhances the taste of blood and that it's the only factor that matters. Santa, puzzled, wondering if he is hearing a new vampire myth or just Jaruji's way of making everything sound a bit more exotic than it was, says he's only ever known blood and bodily fluids to serve as nutrition for vampires. He has never heard of blood being aged like this. Jaruji laughs and tells him that she's heard aging blood changes people's chemistry, just like sex does. Her laughter echoes through the room until Sister Alicia, standing nearby, tells her to keep quiet. Chitose keeps watching, thinking if the whole situation is some kind of weird cooking show where nobody read the recipe correctly. She thinks this whole thing is becoming a personal struggle. She feels out of place, weird in her own skin. At that moment, Jaruji approaches her and asks why her face looks so dark. Then, leaning in close to her ear, she suggests that Chitose should try the ripened blood, since it took her a lot of pain to bring it here. As soon as Chitose takes a sip, the world seems to fade away in front of her eyes. Her thoughts slow down, her worries blur, and she starts thinking that maybe everything will work itself out. While sipping, she notes how there's no alcohol in it, and of course, humans are still prohibited from drinking until the age of 20. Sister Alicia then questions Jaruji if she got this bottle from a church-approved cellar. Jaruji dodges the question, which irritates Alicia. She scolds Jaruji for being irresponsible and also criticizes her clothes, wondering why she's dressed like that. Jaruji casually replies that she's fine in these clothes and mocks Alicia by pointing out how much she talks, yet she ate all the cookies that Chitose made. She tries to look serious, but the cookie crumbs on her face told a different story. Then she teases Alicia, calling the cookies a devil's temptation, which turns Alicia's face red with frustration. Santa announces that the church has become livelier now and says Jaruji is looking especially cheerful and cute today. He adds that she always keeps herself well dressed. Chitose giggles lightly, slightly tipsy from the drink, and remarks that Jaruji does seem a bit defenseless. Santa, standing close by, can't stand seeing Chitose in her revealing outfit. He steps forward and covers her with some clothes. Seeing this, Jaruji, now jealous, walks up to him and protests that she's wearing even less than Chitose. Santa is like a confused fashion police officer. He does not know how to handle this wardrobe malfunction. In the background, Sister Alicia tells her to wear proper clothes and not make a fuss. As night falls, Sister Alicia lies down on the nearby sofa, saying she's eaten too much. Jaruji passes through later and pauses when she spots Santa in the kitchen. She stands outside quietly listening. Inside, Chitose thanks Santa for cleaning the dishes, realizing that no one's ever thanks a dishwasher for doing its job, so she is making history here. Santa brushes it off, saying it's nothing, after all, she cooks for him. But today she's sticking around a bit too much, which makes Santa point out that she's making it hard for him to wash the plates. Chitose asks if he's in a good mood. Santa replies that it feels nice seeing everyone happy, especially since Chitose had been acting strange for a while. She wasn't drinking blood properly, and he was beginning to worry she had taken Jaruji's prisoner comment seriously. Chitose walks up to him and asks if she's been bothering him too much. She admits that while she's restricted from going many places, she still enjoys being with him. Then she hugs him gently from behind. Santa asks if there's something else bothering her. In her heart, Chitose thinks Santa is too kind, and just this kindness is enough to make her fall for him. She feels foolish remembering how she drank vampire blood. She is starting to realize that her heart is more complicated than a vampire's diet. Suddenly, she notices a scent. Vampire scent. She asks if Jaruji was here. Santa tells her that Jaruji came by for some fresh blood. This freezes Chitose. She starts to think she needs to resist this kind of thing because she likes Santa. He takes care of her, and she knows she needs to stop this perverted behavior. But she's confused, unsure what to do. She finally asks if she can also drink. Santa says yes, and even apologizes for the whole Jaruji situation. Chitose makes him sit down and moves closer, beginning to drink his blood. As she does, her thoughts turn toward herself, calling her own behavior the worst. Santa gently tells her that from now on, if she ever needs his blood, she can simply ask. He'd be happy to help. Standing outside, Jaruji listens to the whole thing, silently watching the two from afar. The next day at school, Chitose sits at her desk with a headache. She drank way too much blood the night before. Still, the flavor hasn't changed. She wonders what it would taste like if someone else, besides Jaruji, drank Santa's blood. Would it still taste the same? But she scolds herself, telling herself these thoughts are wrong. She decides not to bother Santa for blood for a while. Just then, the same strange girl from before walks up and asks if she's an AO vampire, because she herself is one too. Hearing that, Chitose is completely stunned. Santa is surprised when Chitose tells him that there is another vampire in the school, but she herself is shocked too, thinking that the girl might be a human who didn't fall completely under hypnosis, as vampires usually rely on hypnosis to avoid public suspicion. While they discuss this quietly in school, a boy suddenly approaches and teasingly asks if Santa is flirting with Chitose. Santa, now resembling a tomato, stammered, flirting. With Chitose? He is a priest. The boy just grinned, clearly enjoying the sight of Santa trying to deny it. The boy laughs and invites him to join their baseball match if he's free, but Santa declines, saying he is busy saving souls. The boy rolled his eyes. Sure, priest. Sure, and the boy mocks him, calling him a fake priest. The boy then mentions he will talk to a teacher about Chitose's management level, and Santa encourages him to go ahead. As they leave the school grounds, Santa asks Chitose if she's really going to meet the new vampire. He offers to go along, but Chitose assures him she can handle it alone since the other vampire is a model vampire, and she wants to have a personal talk with her. Santa insists that as a priest, he should go too, but Chitose explains that the new vampire is a girl, so boy's presence might not be appropriate for their discussion. Santa asks if she wants to drink any blood before leaving. She can just ask any time, as he is practically a walking juice box, but Chitose refuses, saying she's about to meet someone. He gently tells her she can drink his blood whenever she wants, because she's special to him. Hearing this, Chitose quietly reminds herself to stay in control. Santa is being too kind, and she makes up her mind not to drink his blood unless another vampire drinks it first. Chitose goes to meet the new vampire, who introduces herself as Koko. Koko shares that she doesn't like drinking blood directly from people. Curious, Chitose asks how she usually manages, since not drinking at all isn't an option. Koko explains that she only drinks a very small amount when she absolutely reaches her limit. Jaruji, who is also there, finds it surprising that such vampires exist. Chitose starts wondering about Koko's guardian priest. Just then, Jaruji's face lit up like she has just discovered a hidden treasure chest when the waitress brought milk tea. Jaruji is holding an outside drink in her hand, and the waitress tries to stop her from having it, but Chitose uses hypnosis to sending the waitress away like a pro. Jaruji compliments her on her hypnosis skills and checks with Koko if the drink is alright. Koko replies that ever since she arrived from the countryside to high school, she's been sitting like this in cafes. As they relax, Jaruji begins eating the food she ordered, calling it her favorite human dish. She then asks Koko how drinking blood feels to her. Koko hesitates, wondering if it's safe to talk about such things in public. Chidose agrees, but Jaruji pushes the conversation forward, suggesting they use hypnosis for safety. Koko explains that she doesn't want anyone to see her face while she feeds, so she always attacks from behind. She says that boys have more solid bodies and that sucking their blood is a bit tougher. She shares how humans are overly curious. On the other hand, Jaruji says she enjoys feeding face to face so she can see the fear in their eyes. When Chidose is asked about her preferences, she responds that she is just normal. But inside, her mind is spinning with thoughts about how Santa's blood must taste compared to others, especially now that she has tasted Koko's. She suddenly asks Koko if she'd like to try Santa's blood. Chidose, deep in thought, finds herself comparing Santa's blood to Koko's like she is picking out a bottle of wine at a fancy store. Jaruji freezes in the middle of her bite. Chidose continues, thinking that since Koko doesn't really enjoy drinking blood, Santa's case wouldn't be a problem. Jaruji questions whether this is really a good idea, since she herself rarely drinks Santa's blood. Chidose apologizes, but before she can say more, Koko unexpectedly says she would like to try it, just once. If Santa is really kind. Hearing this, Chidose stands up, deciding to talk to Santa first. She walks away, thinking that her original goal for coming here is complete. But at the same time, she starts seeing herself as a weak vampire, someone who can't control her desires and ended up confessing too much. Suddenly, she hears a voice from behind. Jaruji is standing upstairs, looking down at her, and asks whether she really wants to do this. She questions if Chidose is okay with drinking Santa's blood after another vampire has already tasted it. Chidose freezes. She can't understand how Jaruji found out. Jaruji just stands there, laughing and calling her a pervert, while Chidose remains stunned and speechless.